My dear listener, if you are a senior or someone who deeply cares about an elderly loved one, I invite you to listen to this message with full attention. What I am about to share is not a list plucked from thin air. It is grounded in years of experience, clinical observations, and real scientific studies. It is something I would tell my own mother. Something I wish every senior citizen could hear before they sit down at the breakfast table. Breakfast is often called the most important meal of the day, and for seniors, that saying holds even more truth. After the age of 60, our body's metabolism slows down. Our cells don't repair the same way. Our digestive systems don't respond as swiftly. The food we eat, especially in the morning, sets the tone for our energy, mood, and overall health throughout the day. But unfortunately, many seniors unknowingly consume foods for breakfast that silently drain their vitality. Foods that spike blood sugar, damage the heart, hurt the kidneys, confuse the brain, and accelerate aging. There are 4 specific foods that, in my medical opinion, and based on evidence, should be completely avoided by the elderly at breakfast. These are not opinions of convenience. These are urgent warnings backed by years of patient experience and scientific study. Let's begin with the first one. Sugary breakfast cereals. Yes, those colorful boxes that promise vitamins and minerals are not your friend, especially not after the age of 60. Most cereals marketed as healthy are, in reality, loaded with added sugars and refined carbohydrates. When you eat a bowl of such cereal, your blood sugar spikes. That spike is followed by a crash, leaving you tired, irritable, and even dizzy by mid-morning. A 2020 study published in the journal Nutrients found that older adults who consumed high glycemic foods like sweetened cereals for breakfast had poorer cognitive performance throughout the day. Let that sink in. That sweet cereal may be shrinking your energy and mental sharpness, one spoonful at a time. The damage doesn't stop there. Repeated blood sugar spikes can lead to insulin resistance, and that paves the way for type 2 diabetes, which already affects more than 1 in 4 seniors. Add to that the danger of increased inflammation. Chronic inflammation is the root of many age-related illnesses, including arthritis, cardiovascular disease, and even dementia. Many of these cereals also contain artificial dyes, preservatives, and additives that can affect brain function. You might think you're having a light and easy breakfast, but in truth, you are giving your body something it no longer has the strength to process safely. Now let us move to the second food. Processed breakfast meats such as sausages and bacon. My dear friends, I know the smell of bacon in the morning can stir the heart. It might remind us of family gatherings, holiday mornings, or our younger days. But for those above 60, this food is a trap. Processed meats are loaded with sodium, nitrates, and saturated fats. According to a large-scale study from the World Health Organization, processed meats are classified as Group 1 carcinogens. That means there is strong evidence linking them to colorectal cancer. For seniors, this risk is amplified. Our digestive tracts slow down with age. Our kidneys become more sensitive to excess sodium. Our arteries grow less flexible. All of these factors make the effects of processed meats more harmful. A study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in 2019 found that seniors who consume processed meats more than 3 times a week had significantly higher levels of inflammation markers in their blood. This inflammation doesn't just affect the gut. It travels to the heart, the brain, the joints. It accelerates everything we are trying to slow down. If you have high blood pressure, bacon and sausage are not just bad choices. They are dangerous. They can push your numbers higher and reduce the effectiveness of your medications. Let us now talk about the third food, white bread or toast made from refined flour. This is something I have seen on the breakfast tables of many seniors. It is simple, soft, and easy to chew. But it is far from harmless. White bread has little to no fiber. It is made from flour that has been stripped of nutrients. Eating white bread in the morning leads to rapid increases in blood sugar, similar to eating a spoonful of sugar. That rise may feel like an energy boost, but it is a lie. Within an hour or two, blood sugar drops, and the result is fatigue, hunger, and mental fog. Fiber is critical in senior nutrition. It helps control blood sugar, support digestion, and reduce cholesterol. A study published in The Lancet in 2019 concluded that higher dietary fiber intake is associated with a lower risk of both cardiovascular disease and cancer. Yet white bread offers none of these protections. What it does offer is a fast track to sluggishness. If you pair it with sugary jam or butter, the damage doubles. Not only are you denying your body the fiber and complex carbohydrates it needs, but you are also feeding it a load of empty calories that serve no healing purpose. Finally, let me speak about the fourth item: flavored yogurts. On the surface, yogurt might seem like a healthy option. And indeed, plain unsweetened yogurt, especially Greek yogurt, can be rich in protein, calcium, and probiotics. But the moment that yogurt is flavored, it becomes something entirely different. Most flavored yogurts are packed with added sugar. In fact, some single-serving containers have as much sugar as a small candy bar. For a senior whose pancreas is already working harder to maintain insulin levels, this is a burden it cannot afford. A study in the British Journal of Nutrition showed that seniors who consume high-sugar dairy products have higher fasting insulin levels and increased risk of metabolic syndrome. The promise of probiotics in yogurt does not cancel out the dangers of sugar. Worse, many flavored yogurts also contain artificial sweeteners and stabilizers that can upset the gut microbiome. This is deeply important because, as recent studies have shown, gut health is directly tied to immune function, mental clarity, and mood regulation. We must not forget that after 60, our gut flora changes. It becomes more vulnerable. Feeding it with harmful chemicals instead of nourishing bacteria can throw the entire system out of balance. So now you have it. These four foods, sugary cereals, processed breakfast meats, white bread, and flavored yogurts, may seem innocent, but in the body of an aging person, they behave like silent saboteurs. They tire the heart, they strain the kidneys, they confuse the mind, they wear down the immune system. They make it harder for seniors to have the vitality they deserve each morning. Now I want you to imagine the alternative: a warm bowl of steel-cut oats topped with a few slices of banana and a sprinkle of chia seeds, a slice of whole-grain toast with a spread of avocado, a cup of plain Greek yogurt with a handful of fresh blueberries. These are not gourmet luxuries, they are healing foods. Foods that work with your body, not against it. Foods that calm the system instead of stressing it. Foods that keep your blood sugar steady, your digestion healthy, and your heart strong. Dear listener, you are not powerless. You are not at the mercy of aging. You have a choice every morning. What you place on your breakfast plate matters more than you realize. And while one meal will not define your health, daily habits built over time will. As someone who has seen the power of nutrition in elderly patients, as someone who has sat beside hospital beds, wishing that a simple change had been made earlier, I tell you from the depth of my heart, do not wait until illness arrives to change what you eat. Do not give these four foods the chance to steal even one more morning from your life. Choose breakfast wisely. Eat like your health depends on it, because it does. Can the right breakfast really protect your heart and brain? Let me ask you something simple but powerful. When you wake up in the morning, what do you give your body first? A piece of toast? A cup of tea? Maybe nothing at all. It may feel like a small detail in the grand scheme of life, but for someone over the age of 60, this choice matters more than most people realize. The first meal you eat each day has the power to influence how your heart beats and how your brain thinks. That is not just poetic language. That is medical fact. I have seen it unfold again and again, and today I want to share with you why the right breakfast can actually protect your heart and your brain. Let's begin with the heart. By the time we reach our 60s, our cardiovascular system has already faced decades of wear and tear. The arteries become stiffer, blood pressure starts to rise, the heart muscle may have grown weaker, and every small decision, every meal, becomes either a helping hand or a heavy burden. A breakfast high in sugar or processed fats puts immediate stress on your heart. It raises blood pressure, it spikes cholesterol, it triggers inflammation in the blood vessels. But on the other hand, a balanced, heart-supportive breakfast can help lower these risk factors and bring your body into a more peaceful state. A study published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology found that people who regularly skipped breakfast had a significantly higher risk of dying from heart-related conditions. The reason is rooted in how the body handles stress in metabolism. When you skip breakfast, your body is forced into a state of metabolic stress. It releases more cortisol and adrenaline. These are stress hormones that cause your blood pressure to rise and your heart to work harder. Over time, this creates a dangerous pattern. On the other hand, when you eat a nutritious breakfast full of fiber, healthy fats, and lean proteins, your body releases calming hormones that regulate insulin and stabilize your heart rate. Let us look more closely at the brain. As we age, our cognitive abilities naturally slow down. We may struggle to recall words, forget why we entered a room, or lose track of time. While some of this is expected, much of it is preventable. The food we eat directly affects brain chemistry, memory, mood, and clarity. A powerful study from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health showed that older adults who ate a high-quality breakfast rich in whole grains, berries, and omega-3 fatty acids scored higher on memory and attention tests compared to those who consumed high-sugar meals or skipped breakfast altogether. Your brain needs a steady flow of glucose to function properly, but not just any glucose. It needs a slow, steady release that comes from complex carbohydrates like oats or sweet potatoes. When you eat sugary cereals or white bread in the morning, you get a sharp spike followed by a crash. That crash leaves the brain foggy and tired. But if you choose foods with fiber and protein, the glucose is released gently and consistently. That means more focus, better mood, sharper memory, and more stable emotions. Now let me speak from my heart, not just from my training. I have had patients in their 70s and 80s who felt hopeless about their declining health. But when we worked together to change their morning meals, we saw improvements that many believed were impossible. One gentleman in his mid-70s came in with blood pressure that fluctuated wildly. He felt drained every morning by 10 o'clock. We adjusted his breakfast. We replaced his white toast and sugary jam with oatmeal topped with walnuts and a few slices of banana. We added one boiled egg and a small serving of plain Greek yogurt. Within 2 weeks, his energy had returned. His blood pressure readings were more stable. His mind was clearer. And he looked at me with tears in his eyes and said, "Doctor, I didn't know food could be this powerful." I want you to feel that hope too, because it is not too late, and the science supports it. The MIND diet, a hybrid of the Mediterranean and DASH diets, has been studied extensively for its effects on brain health. It encourages foods like leafy greens, berries, nuts, olive oil, and whole grains. Seniors who followed this dietary approach showed a 60% lower risk of developing Alzheimer's disease compared to those with a poor diet. And how you start the day plays a central role in following this pattern. You see, when you eat a healthy breakfast, you are more likely to make better choices throughout the day. It sets your metabolism in motion. It nourishes your gut, which influences your immune system and even your mood. Your brain receives the fuel it needs to think clearly and stay calm. Your heart beats with more ease. Your blood vessels remain more flexible, and your overall risk of chronic diseases begins to drop. Let us not forget the emotional side of eating. A peaceful, nourishing breakfast is not just food for the body, it is also food for the soul. Taking 10 minutes in the morning to sit quietly, to enjoy a bowl of warm oats or sip a glass of water with lemon, to be present with your thoughts or say a prayer, that small ritual lowers stress, and that in itself is medicine for your heart and brain. Now you might be wondering what to actually eat. I will keep it simple. Start with whole grains like steel-cut oats or millet. Add healthy fats like ground flax seeds or chopped nuts. Include 1 or 2 sources of protein, such as boiled eggs, plain yogurt, or a small portion of cottage cheese. Include berries or sliced apple for natural sweetness and antioxidants. And drink water. Not tea filled with sugar, not coffee on an empty stomach, just clean water to wake up the organs and cleanse the system. This is not about giving up joy. This is about choosing life, choosing clarity, choosing strength. Your body is still listening to you. Your brain still wants to work for you. And your heart still has many good years left. But you must feed them with care. So yes, the right breakfast can protect your heart and your brain, not just in theory, but in the real lives of people just like you. You do not need pills to feel better in the morning. Sometimes what you need is a bowl of nourishment, served with intention, a small shift that creates a big change. Take that step, begin tomorrow, and let your breakfast become your first act of healing each day.